Yes, good morning. It's Nick Struan here again, coming from Perth in Western Australia. As you can see, it's a beautiful day. Look at the clouds just hanging there doing nothing, right? And a blue, blue sky there. Life is so wonderful. And that's what I thought we would talk about today. This is in the part of the series of how to get rich. Yeah, and again, remember that riches, meaning whatever riches means to you, not to society and not to everybody else, and not to people who is trying to tell you what you should do and not to do. My goal is not to tell you what you should do. My goal is, because mostly I would not be qualified to do that. You've probably done and seen more in your life than I have, and if you haven't, then of course it's a good time to get started. So, but I want to talk to you this morning about a couple of things. One is to have the right people to show you and to guide you, and two, to have the motivation to actually doing something. That's really what I want to get into today. Last time we talked about, finding your reason for doing something, your why, your dream, your goal, your whatever. And I know most time when people say, "Oh, what's your dream?" I was a member of the Amway organization many years ago, and that was the thing. What's your dream? What's your dream? Where you want to go? And unfortunately, I didn't do so well in that business at the time, because people sort of fell out in the bottom as fast as I put them in the top, and I would love to blame the organization for my lack of success, but I really can't, because one of the things that was with me was that I'm not that good at chasing people and making them try to do something that perhaps they don't want to do and all this stuff. I hated, sitting down every week trying to make a list of people to call and all this sort of stuff. It's just not me, and I didn't enjoy it. And mainly because my own belief, though I'm trained as a salesperson, right? I mean, I was an insurance salesman in South Australia for almost 5 years, right? But again, the point is that people like to buy, but they hate to be sold. You're like that too, I'm sure, right? People come to harass you about, doing stuff and wanting to, then you probably object and say, no, definitely not me, no, go away, right? How dare you? Yeah, but, I know it's going to give me a great future, or it's going to get me a better car, or whatever, house, or, but no, because you're telling me I don't want it, okay? And that's how we react to many things. They also say that a salesman is always the easiest to sell to, because we sort of like get accustomed to hear our own words, and we sort of like, I don't know, I can't explain that, but that's a saying there. So where were we talking about? Having something and being sold something, and I just didn't make out very well there, because that was not me. I don't agree with the fact that people should call you up all hours of the night and tell and try to sort of like put something on you, whether it be one thing or the other, right? I still have calls these days from some marketing organization, maybe coming out of India and stuff, saying, we're just doing this survey, we're just doing this whatever. And it always reminds me of when I was in that business, that's not what I want, and I don't like it, okay? So how do we get to know about things? How do we get to wanting to buy things and do something, if that's not the case? Well, it's everybody's right to present some information, right? It's your right, it's my right, it's everybody's right to present the information, right? It's always also like if you're in a restaurant, that people come and sit down and then the waiter come and says, look, what do you want, right? Or you grab the menu. It's up to you to decide. Of course, it's okay for them to actually present something to it and in this case make money from it, right? Yeah? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with making money. I mean, everybody's making money, right? Your boss is making money from you right now as we speak, right? And, there's nothing wrong with that. We need the stuff, right, to live on. And the more you have, the more choices you have. Okay, I don't say the more you have, the happier you are, because that's got nothing to do with that. It's got everything to do with the choices that you have. You can be rich and very unhappy. I mean, you have seen people doing that, right? But you can also be very poor and be very happy. So how does that work out? Well, we must learn that happiness comes from our insides, not from whatever happens to you outside. Okay, but that's a totally different subject there. But yeah, so, presenting information to people is everybody's rights, right? And whether you accept it or not is up to you. There's an old saying here that goes, a man convinced against his will, a woman, of course, as well, is of the same opinion still, right? And that makes a lot of sense, right? That you can sort of, win the battle but lose the war. Right? You can sort of say, oh, yeah, you need to do this. Yeah, come on. And a lot of this happened back in those network marketing days. That was the case that I was able to spin the dream for people, and people realized that this is what they wanted, right? It's not what I wanted, but this is what they wanted. Right? Because we all are basically very much the same. We do want to have more things, but we don't want to be talked into them, right? We want to be able to dream them for ourselves, and then decide if we want to do something about it or not, right? Now, having said that, most people that present an idea to other people are doing that for a reason. Okay, you can say they're doing it for money. Yeah, maybe, right? Of course. As I said, there's nothing wrong with making money. We need this stuff, right? So why do people present things to us other than that? Well, in some cases, people actually want you to succeed. They want you to have a better life, a better car, a better house, a better whatever. That's why they are in that industry they're in. I mean, what industry are you in, right? Why are you doing what you're doing? It's obviously, to the betterment of some people, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be where you are. You'd be sitting home doing nothing. Right? So, you have a business, or you're employed somewhere, or you're doing something, to better for people. What if you're a dentist, say, and you go to that person who's got a hole in his tooth and said, look, I'm a dentist. You want me to fix it? Do you think he would say yes or no? Right? Of course he'll say yes, right? Because he wants it. He got a hole in his tooth and he wants to have it fixed. He's sick of the pain and all this sort of stuff. And you can be in the same way in a financial situation. You can be sick of the pain, right? The sick of Sunday night sitting there going, who am I going to steal from this week to pay to get these people off my back? I just learned something recently, here in Australia, which I thought was disgusting, right? Now, this is just my opinion, and you can take it for whatever you want. That's up to you. But, the credit reporting agencies now gets told every month. Actually, it's the bank's obligation, by my legal obligation, to notify the credit, agencies whether you are paying your bills on time, month after month after month. And this is what it's based on in terms of if you are wanting to progress, or if you wanted to borrow any more money, or if you wanted to get a different property or a car, boat, or house, or whatever, right? Now, I mean, everybody knows you can have a bad time for a reason, right? For whatever. Maybe there's a downturn in the industry or in the market or in the whatever, and you may fall a little bit behind for a few months, right? Now, if you do that, your credit rating is really up the creek, right? Just for that reason. Now, I don't think that the credit rating agency should have that sort of power, right? Because I think that's an infringement of people's financial situations, and also I think it stops many people from actually being able to borrow, right? To actually come forward with. I mean, there's many clever people out there, and they rely sometimes on getting these small loans or whatever to make their inventions come true or to put their business on the line. And remember, a large proportion of the money coming in to any country is from home businesses, right? The small business market is huge, right? Okay, we have big corporations that also contribute, but because of their, financial status, they're able to take advantage of many tax laws and all kinds of things that the normal person may not be. And so they actually end up paying less tax than the poor people who are starting their little homegrown business, right? So, yeah, let's talk about that. Who's driving the country, right? So anyway, let's talk about then, actually doing something. We have established the fact, I think, and you may disagree, but we have established the fact that most of us really do want a different life to the one we're leading, right? 80% of professionals don't want to be in that profession, right? That's the statistic. You can just look it up. 80%. That means your doctor is sitting in there every day when you go and see him, and he hates what he's doing. Is that a life? Is that good? The engineer or the whatever. What about the people who just work for someone, right? Yeah? You get up every morning, and, I took a video the other day, which I'll put through soon, sitting on the freeway. I was just going to the gym to get a bit of exercising, and it just reminded me of the 20 or so more years that I sat on the freeway every morning, trying to get to and from work. It's ridiculous, right? There's places out there that doesn't have that much traffic, right? You can live there, right? But anyway, let's talk about, what... If you have a reason, if you don't have a reason to do anything, then, you might as well switch this off and go and watch the footy, all right? Because I'm not going to tell you something that you're going to like to hear, all right? But if you do think that you do have a reason to do something or to make something different happen. I mean, when I first came to Australia, I was originally born in Copenhagen in Denmark, but when I came to Australia, the lucky country, right? Then I started, as a carpenter and became a builder. But, I worked almost like 80 hours a week as a builder, and I realized that I wasn't making it, right? It wasn't happening, right? So I established, this is why I eventually ended up going into network marketing, because that was an opportunity I could get involved without spending too much money, right? It cost me $99 to join at the time, and I could, it was up to me then to whatever I wanted to do with that, and I did make a lot of money in the Amway Corporation, but I didn't, progress up in the levels for the reasons I told you already. But I just had to find a different vehicle, a different business model that suited me a little bit more, better. So anyway, I came as a carpenter, I became a builder, but it wasn't enough. So I ended up having to look for a part-time business, right? And I sat in the homes, in that time I was in that business, I sat in the homes of many, I would say hundreds, it's probably more than that, but hundreds of people, and some, fairly, influential people, and some with a large business, and they were just simply cash poor. Some of them could not come up with the $99 to invest in just getting started, right? seriously, right? And of course, other people, they were time poor, so they never had the time to do anything, right? See, this is the thing. It's not just a matter of just making the money, because if you have a successful brick and mortar business, you're also tied down to that business. Say, if you own a franchise like McDonald's or Subway or something like that, you have to stay there every day. To find people honest people to look after it is almost very difficult. I wouldn't say impossible, but it is difficult, right? You're not going to have that lifestyle that you should have because you're a millionaire, right? Because you're always stressed and you're always worried, right? Just go and find somebody who owns one and ask them, right? So what is freedom then? Well, freedom is to have the time and the money, right? So that you can do what you want with whom you want, whenever you want, right? And that's the real issue here, right? So let's explore that side for a minute and say, okay, let's see what we can do with that. What actually I think I probably should pause this video this time and start it again in number 4, so we can follow on, because otherwise they'll probably be a bit too big. Okay, so just remember where we're at. We're at now in starting to actually do something if we want to. Okay. So we'll pick it up from there. Okay, thank you for listening.